Hi guys, so today I'm going to mount the Barkbusters Handguards to the Honda CB500X 2019 model, and there is a difference between the 2013 to 18 and the 19 onwards. I believe that the earlier fittings will fit, but there is a specific fitting kit for the 2019 onwards. And that's what I'm going to fit to this bike. Comes in two parts. You have the aluminium bars and the fitting kit, and then you have the actual handguards, and there's a choice of 3 or 4, and I've gone for the VPS black with white lettering, but there's a variety of choices that you can have. And indeed, if it's really hot, you don't even need to mount these, or you could take them off. So it comes in two parts. There's basically two parts to the fitting as well. One is the removal of the bar ends, and it's the bar ends and the internals that need removing on both sides, and then the mounting of the aluminium bars with its fitting kit and the actual covers. From what I understand, taking these bar ends with the tube that is inside the handlebar can be a bit of a pain. I've looked at a few YouTube videos for removal, and there's one or two different ways of people doing it, but I'm going to try and do it in the manner that has been prescribed by Barkbusters, and then we'll just take it from there. Okay, so on the left hand side I got this out. That's the bar end, that's the internals. These are two like grippy rubber grommets. They've actually, I'll hold it that you can see the angle there. I think they're designed just to grip and hold, and probably a bit of anti-vibration maybe. And this spring clip is what locates to two holes on the inside of the bar. So that actually holds that in place to stop it from coming out. And the techniques that I've seen, and the official technique, well, the official technique is to roll the handlebar grip back. What you see on this bike is the grip puppies rolled back, not the bar. So you're supposed to roll the bar back, the grip, handle grip, and then locate the two spring clips, push them down at the same time, and then at the same time as pushing them down is ease this out. Very fiddly, and personally I think it's really hard to roll this back, but maybe with a bit of heat on it, it would do. However, I did find a way of getting it off quicker, and this one on the other side came off in about 45 seconds. The only thing about doing it the way I found is that this spring clip is not then serviceable to use again. Everything else is okay, but that spring clip is then, when I say damaged, it's just it loses the two little tiny bits of metal because you're forcing it out. I'm not going to put them back on, but I bet you can buy those spring clips anyway, and I will have a look and see if that's the case. But it doesn't bother me. But if you do it this way, you get it off in about 45 seconds instead of maybe 45 minutes. Undamaged, everywhere's undamaged, but for that spring clip. Now, I've already done this side, and I thought I'd filmed it, but I wasn't filming. So I'm just going to show you the way it is. It's loose anyway, but I'm going to show you the way it's done. So these, because they're rubber mounted, there is a degree of movement on these, and you can ease it out without undoing anything. You can ease it out fractionally, just a little bit, leaving a little gap. And then what you do, get a cloth. Basically the cloth is only to protect the bar end, and if you're going to bin them, it doesn't really matter, but I keep all these bits in case I want to put it back to original. And then what you do is you just use a big flat-headed screwdriver to gently ease that back. So you're just using it as a lever just to ease that bar end back till it gets to this point here where there's a sufficient gap. And that sufficient gap is to put a ring spanner, well, not a ring spanner, put a spanner in. Basically, just putting this cloth over again just to stop from scratching the bar end. Then putting the spanner in the gap that you've created, and then all you're doing then is giving it some gentle taps. So all you're doing is just tapping, tapping, tapping. You might have to put a little bit of force, but it's not that much force. All you're doing is just effectively you're breaking the two tiny little bits of metal on that spring clip. And then once they've obviously broken or bent backwards, you get to a point you can tell because you can feel it's just given. And at that point, it literally comes out like that. Now, even the official way of fitting, sometimes the end rubber grommet, this one, sometimes that's left in the bar. And on this side, the right hand side, it was in the bar. Left hand side, it came out. And you need a really special tool to get it out. And it's a coat hanger. Now this coat hanger I've actually used for probably the last 10 years. Talk about value for money. I've used it for all sorts. I have a standard hook on that side, not much on that side. And in this, I could actually see the rubber grommet, so a screwdriver would have probably brought it out. But all I did was put that into the end of the bar, located the little rubber washer thing, and then just fished it out. And it came out straight away. So, what could be like an hour and a quarter hour job, or certainly 30-40 minute job, took that down to about, in total, about a minute and a half. And probably not even that. But you do, those little spring clips do lose their little end pieces. So if you're ever going to put it back on, you might need to be honest, you might not even need them on, but you'd need to replace that little spring clip. If you're never going to put them back on, very, very quick way of doing it. So there we have now, ready to start fitting. And when you look at other YouTube videos, you'll see that people have massive problems with them. Not so much problems, but it just takes a long time to do it the official way. So whether you agree with this or not, I've found that a lot better. Okay, so we're going to fit the first bracket to the right hand side of the bike, and effectively the bracket setup needs to just go over the bar, and then the bottom bracket needs to go under. And then we just need to capture the bolts on the end of the nuts. And like everything, I've put lock thread on these bolts that are going through. One thing to take note of, and you'll see it in instructions anyway, these two bolts are different lengths. And the shorter bolt goes to the front here, So they're loosely fitted now. And what we're going to do now is offer up the bar to see that that fits and where it all fits. So that's looking about there, but we'll see better once we've got this end in. So we're going to attach the bar to this clamp with that bolt. So it's just a case of gently winding that in. Don't want to tighten anything at the moment until we've got the fixing on at the bar end side. Yeah, so there's a degree of looseness in that. Alright guys, so a little bit of trial and error. For me, it looks like the bar is going to go over those cables, because what you're looking for is this bar here, when the bike's up in its normal position, level, for this bar to be more or less level rather than down or up. And just with playing around with it, I've found that these cables will best fit underneath rather than over the top. Obviously it'll all depend when I get it all tightened up, but that's the way I think it's going with this. Right, so I've now got the internals for the bar end put together, and I'm going to offer that up to the bar and slide that in. Sort of gently as we go. So that's looking about right, and yeah, that doesn't go in any further. So now it's just a case of tightening it all up, and there is a sequence to tighten it up, and I think it's at this end, but I'm just going to double check that. Okay, so I've now got these bolts in. I've also checked that the bar itself, when the bike is in its upright position, is level or thereabouts, and it is. And I just now need to torque this bolt up, then this bolt, the one that attaches to the bracket, and then the two bracket bolts. So you've got to do it in that sequence. Bar end bolt, bolt going into the bracket, and then the two brackets. And it's 20 Newton meters for these two bolts. So I'll just, I've nipped this up, but I'll just double check. 20 Newton meters. So okay, so we're happy with that. Okay, so that's your 20 Newton meters on the end, and we'll just do the same for this one, but I'm going to nip that up first. It's always a bit awkward, I think, on these bikes with the cables, and some people put them the cables over the top, some people under, and certainly on this side I've found that they just sit nice and comfortably under. So that's nipped up. We're going to torque that up in the sequence that we've been told to do. So that's now torqued to 20 Newton meters. And then we're just going to nip these bolts up. And then we'll torque them as well. Obviously it just finds its natural position. This bracket finds its natural position on the bar. So I'm just tightening these up evenly either side till we get to the point that they're nipped, and they are now nipped up. So these have got to be torqued to 10 Newton meters. So I'll just adjust that. So we're just going to torque these up now to that 10 Newton meters. I'm still going to do it by graduating between the two, just to evenly do it. Okay, so all 4 bolts for the right hand side are now torqued, and that feels pretty solid. Everything feels good. Throttle still works, no problem. So that's that side done. The other side's going to be a duplication, so I won't film that. We'll just come back to you once I've got that on and show you what the next step is. So I just want to show you, before I fit the left hand side, the internal mechanism of this. Basically you've got your bar, you've got a bolt that goes through here all the way through, you've got a big bar end, a weight on the end, you then have a couple of sleeves. The one at the bottom here is longer and narrower, and there is a bolt that goes on the end of that which has 2 little flanges, and the flanges catch into the groove to allow it all to tighten up. The larger of the 2 tightening flanges sits over the narrower one, and basically that now goes into the bar end and gets tightened up. Thought that would be useful to you. I hope it was. Right guys, got a bit dark quickly outside, but managed to get the job done. Did find it a bit of a fiddle actually on the left hand side here, and that's primarily down to the Rally Raid levers. I did buy them second hand, but they were Rally Raid levers originally, and they just don't allow the bar to go down any further. However, when I look at it from here, it doesn't look too bad. I might have preferred it to be a little bit touch further down, but I can have a play around with that once I've got the covers on, and you know, just to get a good feel for it then. So I ran out of light last night and didn't quite get the Barkbusters on the way I wanted them, and so I left it last night. Come to it this morning, and I had actually adjusted the hand controls on both sides, slightly lowering them, and actually the lever's feel in a better position now, funnily enough, but I've slightly moved them, which has allowed me to have the Barkbusters in a more level position with the bar, slightly further down than I'd actually fitted them last night. Happy with the way it is now, but obviously I need to test ride it to see what it's like. But they're now fitted, they're now torqued up. Having loosened them all off and then adjusted again, bit of a pain, but it's better just to play around until you get them exactly how you want them. So I'm happy with these at the moment. See after the test ride. The one thing that I didn't really show last night was the fitting of these plastic covers. Very simple in that there are two screws, one here and one here. They screw in, tighten up, no problem at all. I fitted them just with the basic cover, but you can get, you do get in your pack some extension pieces. And these extension pieces screw from behind in two different places. So, roughly speaking, the first place is there, showing about maybe ½ an inch. And you can have them on a higher position there, which obviously gives you more cover for your hands, but they are much higher. I'm not going to put them on for now, but maybe as winter comes in, I might just put them on and see what they're like. But for now, I'm just going to run it with the standard covers on.